So in this outcome-based education, one has, in the Bologna process, one has discussed what is the learning outcome. And there is a wider understanding of knowledge. It's not only knowledge and understanding. The student shall also show the ability to apply knowledge and understanding. And also the learning objectives or the learning outcomes is about developing skills, different skills, communication skills, technical skills, and also the ability to make wise and relevant judgments in different situations. So it's the learning outcomes is more than just what you can write in a written exam, or it's a wider knowledge concept. I think that is important. The concepts of goals, objectives, and learning outcomes, and the relationship between them. Sometimes we use these terms interchangeably and not so distinct which one means how. They all relate to teaching, and this is one way of defining and discriminating the concepts, which I think is important that we are agree upon. So one way of using these terms is to see goals as a more overarching term. You could describe the goal for an education or a course in more overarching terms. And if you narrow down, you can use the term objective. That could be in the course plan. But then when it comes to describe the learning outcomes that you can use in the course for the students to understand what are we supposed to reach during this course, and for the teachers to know what are the outcomes that I have to plan my teaching around, what is the expected intended outcome of this course, and that should be more precise, more specified. And in our work now that we're in to identify all these learning outcomes, I think it's important that we use the term learning outcome, and also that we try to formulate it in a way that we'd use the same mal, help me Samuel, or frame for formulating the learning outcomes. A learning outcome describes in observable and measurable terms what a student is able to do as a result of completing a learning experience. I think that's a good definition of what a learning outcome should be. Intended learning outcomes. One could discuss who is it that should formulate the intended learning outcomes. Sometimes when you talk about the outcome-based and the constructive alignment, we will come to that term. You could say that it is the teacher or the institution that formulates what the students are about to learn. But of course, in a course or in the education, students learn more than what we expect them to or intend them to learn. But we need to try to formulate the intended learning outcome that we see as most relevant and important for the students to reach. One thing to specify the intended learning outcomes is that it is a statement of what students will be able to do when they successfully complete a learning experience, not just what the students will know, but what they are able to do with the knowledge and the skills. And that's important for how to think about how to formulate the intended learning outcomes. I think you need to write it in a way that it's student-centered. It is not about what the teacher is teaching, what the teacher is planning in the course. It is about what the students are supposed to learn, to experience, to learn, to understand, to gain skills and understanding. It needs to be measurable, to be concise, so that the students know what are we supposed to do and to learn, and to be concise so the teacher can measure, did the students reach the intended learning outcome? It also needs to be meaningful and achievable. there is some tools, you could say, to help you to write these intended learning outcomes, and one of them is called SMART, and I present it here. The S, an intended learning outcome needs to be specific. What action, under what circumstances, and by whom? What action are the students supposed to be able to do after ending the course? And the M, it needs to be measurable. How will success be measured? And that's a bit difficult to formulate that in a way that is really helps the teacher to formulate the exam or the assignment or the assessment in the end of the course. And the achievable part, the A, is the formulated intended learning outcome possible to achieve in the time of the course, with the resources allocated, with the teaching activities? Is it achievable or is it not possible to achieve? The R, relevant. Is the outcome relevant and important for the course and for the overarching goal? Sometimes we put in learning objectives or learning outcomes in the course plans that maybe is not at the core of what the students are going to or intended to. And the last one could be difficult to write in the learning outcome, the time bound, but maybe it's enough to say when the students have ended the course, they shall be able to this and that. That's a way of formulating the time bound, I think.